Welcome, welcome. As you come into this experience, I am asking that you fill me in the chat how you're feeling. If you're new to a masterclass of mine, or if you are an OG, let us know in the chat maybe where you're tuning in from as we have people come in. I know there'll be a lot of people to watch the replay, of course. We had over 140 women register for this experience. So we're so excited to have everyone here live and watching the replay as we dive into tonight's magic. What I suggest is that you have water, okay, and a journal and an open mind and an open heart. Oh, Jamie, I'm so glad you're feeling good. It has been a powerful, powerful week of energy with the full moon and eclipse. And of course, it being in Pisces means all of the heightened energies of emotional activation, right? So I'm so glad that y'all are here. We are going to be letting some more people in before we actually set the container. So I'm so excited. Just let us know. Hi from Idaho. We're so glad you're here. So happy you're here, Marissa. Yes, let us know where you're from and how you're feeling. That'll be good for us to anchor in everything. The reason I say water is if you are new, and then if you're not, you know that everything that I lead and teach is pouring in with a ton of light. Okay, so there's a lot of activations, there's a lot of energetic healing going on. There is just a lot of energy that will be flowing through this. And a lot of times I hear from women, especially if you have that connection to your energy centers and the light in a way that you are spiritually awakened, that you will probably feel a lot of the energy in this container. So if at any point you see or feel any tingles or start to get heated or whatever, it's probably a download coming in. Hi, Brandy. So glad you're here from Oklahoma. Yay. I'm so excited. The plan tonight is to walk you through just some beautiful teachings, transmissions, reflection practices for you to awaken her more. Her being your higher self, her being your best self, her being the version of you that is craving and desiring more peace in your life, that you're craving and desiring more alignment. And when I say alignment, alignment to what, right? Alignment to your higher self, to your best self, to the truest version of yourself. And so in this experience, we're going to be talking about all these things. I encourage you always to be as engaged as possible, right? So when we're engaged, when we're commenting in the chat, when we are nodding our head, when we're really focused, when we're taking some notes, if you have something that just you need to get out, and there's going to be a couple of times where I do ask you to journal a couple of things down, write a couple of things down. The more you do that, the more that your energy is connected, the more that you will not only receive the verbal transmission, but the energetic transmission as well. And so that's what I want for all of you to walk away going, okay, I felt that in my core. And then at the end of this, as most of you know, it is the relaunch of Soul Up, the reopening of Soul Up, which is my incredible, magical, which many of them are on, community that I have been leading for 5 years now. And I'm going to talk to you all about the incredible upgrades, the lower price, and everything that is going on with that relaunch. So definitely stay till the end if you are interested in that. So we're going to go ahead and I welcome you in. We're going to have more women come in, I'm sure. But I want you to just close your eyes as I cast a circle of light. Okay. Grounding into this present moment, breathing in through your nose, out through the mouth. When you inhale through the nose, expanding the belly, out through the mouth, softening the belly. Just grounding into this present moment, releasing any tension from your day, any stress that you may have encountered, to be fully present for this time for yourself. And we're going to cast a circle of light, specifying that my core healing team, in conjunction with Source Creator God, as well as your core healing teams and higher selves, be present for tonight's beautiful Awaken Her transmission. We ask at this time that all of our divine channels of communication be cleared, including but not limited to our clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, claircognizant, psychic, telepathic, transmedium, kundalini, sexual, and tantra channels. Clearing these divine channels of communication so that you can not only more clearly receive powerful information from Source Creator God, the universe, your higher self, your well-heeled and wise ancestors, your galactic family, but also to clear communication, not only in this container tonight, so you hear me clear and you receive exactly what it is that you need at any given moment, but also clearing these channels so that you can have more clear communication with those in the 3D experience alongside you in your relationships. We ask to take all four etheric bodies up in frequency: mental, emotional, spiritual, and of course, this dense physical body, activating as much light as possible with the most human comfort. We ask per each individual soul's guidance that the chakra systems inside and outside of the body be repaired, realigned, and even replaced per your soul's guidance to access deeper layers of those portals of power and those crystalline books of information. And as always, we give infinite gratitude to the one love, one light, Source Creator God, for all of us, and all of this is possible. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So as we gather here tonight, as this collective, I want us to have an intention. This is the time for you to awaken to the truth of who you are, to beyond the stress and overwhelm that so often clouds us in these lifetimes, especially if you are a part of this vortex of my work, whether it's in Soul Up or programs or even just on Instagram, right? You know that it's a big part of my teachings and my mission is to help women know that that state of stress and overwhelm is not your baseline. Or let me say it this way, it doesn't have to be your baseline. So I want you to set a personal intention for what you hope to get out of today, what you hope to receive. And you can speak it silently in your heart. And let's just hold our intentions together as individuals, but also in unity for the duration of the next hour together. So some of you know, and maybe some of you don't, because there are some women that are new, and welcome. My journey with this work of awakening to her, my higher self, of healing myself from the burnout and the overwhelm and the exhaustion and the hustle and all the things that we're going to talk about working through and healing tonight, started 7 years ago when I had my spiritual divine feminine awakening. And I was supposed to be, you know, at the most happiest time of my life. I was quote unquote successful on paper, made my first $1 million. And it was also the same month that I awakened and realized that if that was what success was, then I didn't want it. I was drinking too much because of all of the overwhelm and all of the old programs running. I was diagnosed with neurological Lyme disease, which they say is incurable. I no longer have with any of the other autoimmune stuff that they said that I would have forever. And I was juggling a million things, forcing and pushing and pulling myself to achieve this level of success that society and people around me were saying that this is what success is. This is how this is how you get happy. You work really hard to make all the money. You push yourself, you overgive, you do more than you're supposed to. And I was exhausted and losing my mind, and truly like at the rock bottom of my life 7 years ago, when I was awakened to this work with Source and Soul and the light. And I've been dedicated ever since to helping other women awaken to the truth of who they are, to lead you back to your true power, not just the power that we think society tells us is what power is, in making a lot of money or doing all the things. And I'm here to tell you too, we're not going to get into business tonight, but you can make a lot of money and you can be really quote unquote successful, but also do it from a place of alignment. Do it from a place where you're not burning out and exhausted and overwhelmed. And that's what happens when you awaken her. That's what happens when you awaken that version of yourself, when you start to heal those deep-seated wounds, when you start to realize that you've been running on programs of the collective and probably your family for most of your life, right? And studies show that women feel 40% more stressed than men on average. Because not only, and we've talked about this in some of my teachings, or if you're new to my world, we've talked about how I truly feel that a big part of that was that Feminist Act in the 60s and 70s, right? With good intentions. I think the Feminist Act had really good intentions of at the core, I think we wanted to have our power back, or to be adored and to feel valued by society, which is what the Feminist Act was all about. But it took a little bit of a weird turn when it became, I can do anything a man can do. It took a little weird turn when it was like, oh yeah, we can do it all. We can be the wife, we can be the mom, we can be the housekeeper, we can be the cook, and we can be a successful businesswoman, because I can do it all. But what we forgot to realize is back then, like, men weren't doing it all. They're actually more capable to do it all than we are. Because when the masculine is in its divinity, the divine masculine can actually hold a lot more than the feminine, because they're meant to, right? But we took on this this living organism of this persona of like, I have to be like a man. So then introducing the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, our parents probably, where it was like all these women were workhorses, plus doing everything at home, raising children, doing all the things. And then you look around at that generation and our generation that it got handed down to, and what do you see? You see a lot of burned out women, and even burned out women that don't have businesses, exhausted women that don't run their own company or whatever. And maybe I've worked with plenty of clients that are stay-at-home moms, but the pressure that they put on themselves to be perfect, the pressure they put on themselves to always say yes, right? Is something that is like this deep-seated program that through awakening her, you start to dissolve. So with that, we have to, why is all of this getting into alignment to awaken her so important? It's because so many women, and how I know, and this is a good question for you to ask yourself, but how you can tell if you're not really in alignment to your truth is, number one, you're overwhelmed and exhausted and burned out, right? Like, that's just a core, because we're at the core of us. We're not meant to live in a state of stress. We're not meant for our systems to go through these things. Now, is it all divine for the divinity of all? Yes, it's playing out exactly as it's meant to, but we actually can create a level, a baseline, a foundation of safety within our body, of peace, of calm. And you can tell this by when some of y'all have gone through this practice with me, but I want you to think about your core values and your priorities, what you say your priorities are in life. Okay. And mine are a little bit different than some other women. My priority first and foremost is myself and spiritual care, me. Then my family. Now, don't get me wrong. I would take a bullet for my family and I would kill for my family. 100%, no questions asked. That doesn't mean that I'm putting myself above my family, but my number one priority is myself and spiritual care. Because if I'm not functioning with an overflowing cup and my best capacity, then my family, my friends are getting half-assed versions of me. They're not getting my best, and they deserve my best, right? I want to be my best for others. So first I have to be my best for self. So a lot of women will say, oh, well, this is my priority, or family's my priority, especially women in business, but yet they're sacrificing everything. It could be your health, right? It could be core values of integrity or honor, or living a peaceful life, or whatever this vision of your life that you want, but you're not living in alignment to that because of looking at what you're actually prioritizing versus what your actual priorities are. Like, that was me. I was like, oh, my family is my number one priority back in the day. And I sacrificed so much time with my family. I sacrificed so much connection with my family all because I was in this hustle. I had to do more. I had to do more. I had to do more. It could even be not even business related. You prioritize your family, but you're stressed out all the time because you're trying to be perfect for your family. And you're always stressed out because the house is never in order. The laundry's never done. And you're just running around so tired, so exhausted and overwhelmed. And I can promise you that a lot of times your family doesn't even care about those things. They just want you. They want quality time with you. And you can only give those best versions of yourself, right, to your family if you have awakened to the power that's within you to find peace, to find joy. And burnout isn't just being busy. It doesn't come just from being busy. It also is a weighing in on a big factor is these invisible boulders that we carry. And these boulders come in, these energetic boulders come in anytime that we're putting our needs last. And we're going to talk about this in a little bit. Anytime that we're saying yes when we really need no, when we're overextending ourselves, when we're carrying emotional, physical, spiritual stress that drains our energy that we are just putting away. How many of you have just buried it? Like, oh, I need to cry right now. And I'm just like, oh, I'm going to put that under the rug. We'll deal with that later. Oh, you want me to make cupcakes in 2 hours for 30 people because you asked me to do that? Okay, yes. And you might have noticed that a lot of times you feel like you're racing around the house, racing in life. Like when, we're going to get into this, but like really like almost like running through life, never feeling like there's enough time, never getting a full night's sleep. And it's so important for us to know these and have these awarenesses around what it is that is the stressors in our life, what it is that my life really actually looks like right now. Because the feminine burnout cycle is real. Again, especially in this generation, it is real because there's a deep-seated core belief, and we're going to talk about this later, that like we're not enough or we're not worthy. And so we're constantly trying to strive to prove to ourselves and others that we're good enough, right? And we're these beautiful natural, like women and the feminine energy, we're natural nurturers and caretakers. And so we love to give most of the time. But when we're on this cycle of not being awakened to her, then we're usually pouring from a half-empty cup and then being left and feeling drained, right? And so it's important that we get on this track of, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. Now, how do we start to really bring that awareness into self-actualization, to that higher self, to that awakened her? Okay, so I want you to take a moment, if you have your journal, and I want you to pause for a minute. Again, the more you're engaged in the energy and this transmission, the more you're going to feel the results at the end, okay? So I want you to just pause for a moment, and I want you to reflect. And I want you to think of an area where burnout, that exhaustion, that overwhelm is showing up in your life. What are the tasks or the expectations that you feel like are those invisible energetic boulders that you're carrying? And I want you to really just journal it out for a couple of minutes. Where are you most overwhelmed right now? Where do you feel like you're hustling? This is a good reflection. Where do you feel like you're working really hard? And I want y'all to know this, especially if you're new to my world. Hustle to me does not mean hard work. Hustle to me is the force, push, pull, drag energy to achieve this perceived outcome that you think is going to make you feel good enough or worthy. Okay. But where are you hustling the hardest and then not getting the results that you think that you need out of it? So where are you overwhelmed? And I want you to just have this awareness. Without any judgment, this is just a reflection practice that you can expand upon later, of course, as well. And as you're thinking of this, it's, society teaches us that we need to be doing all the time. How many of you feel whether you've been on this journey with me for a while, or you're new, or you're in this space where you know there's got to be something on the other side of just feeling overwhelmed and exhausted all the time. But how many of you feel like you are just in need of doing all the time? And if you're not doing all the time, you feel and you beat yourself up and like call yourself lazy. You call you're like, oh, I can't, I've got to be doing this, or I should be doing more of this, or, oh, the dishes need to be done. I need to get up and do the dishes. Definitely been there, especially on the weekends. Yes. Yes. So then we think, oh, we have time off from work, so I need to be doing more, or I need to find things. I need to go hustle and find things, right, to do. And we think that that productivity equals our worthiness. But something really important as you awaken more of her is that you understand that feminine energy is not linear. It's cyclical. It's about flow. It's about creating. It's about receiving. It's about being in tune with our intuition, being in tune with our body, being in tune with our hormones. Again, men are on like a 24-hour cycle. That's why they are actually okay with holding, or supposed to be okay with holding, a lot more than us women, because we're on a 28-day cycle. And if you think about it, and there's something I'll share with y'all at the end of getting a little bit deeper into this, but we are meant to really nurture the cycles, our energetic, hormonal, if you want to get woo-woo, the moon, right? But we're not actually even created on an energetic blueprint basis to be in go, 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 go. And that's why so many women, and myself included up until 7 years ago, and so many women that I support on this journey are so exhausted and burned out, and they go, oh, I don't know why. But you do, right? It's like, imagine a river. It doesn't hustle to flow. It moves effortlessly within its boundaries, which, you know, if you know my teachings on the soulpreneur with your divine masculine structure, finding its own rhythm. And you have that natural flow and rhythm. But a lot of times when we're not lined up with our priorities, and we are trying to force and hustle and push and pull things, instead of be in that flow and that rhythm, to slow down and actually listen to what our body is telling us. It's the whole saying that we've all heard, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, shit, I'll sleep in 2 hours, right? Like, we got to sleep. We've got to rest. We've got to flow, right? And surrendering to these awarenesses. And when I say surrender, when I use the word surrender, I mean surrendering and letting go of everything that you know is not true for you. Surrendering the old program, surrendering the fear, surrendering the pressure. But we've been taught surrendering means give up. But it's actually one of the most powerful things we can do, because it means that you trust yourself and you trust the divinity of your intuition to flow in, of the messages that you're meant to receive, right? So when I think of this, it's like, when I was talking to a client the other day, and it was like, okay, why, she was like, why is this not working? Why am I coming up against, like, you know, it seems like it's just spiraling. I was like, okay, we got to check this, right? And it was like, I told her, it's like, you're putting pressure on this to work. It's like you're trying to put pressure, and I want you to imagine that you're putting pressure on something. And this thing is not meant to be yours. And so it's kind of, it's not cemented or pillared into the ground. So you're putting pressure on it to make it work. What's that doing? Pushing it away. And it's causing you to exert a crap ton of energy, and then wondering why it's not coming. It's like, because you're literally pushing it away. Y'all know this from my Heal the Hustle teachings. It's like, when we are gripping onto something to make it work, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's friendships and whatever, making money. And we're like this, trying to make it work. I need this to work. This energy of like, oh my God, I need this to work. You are completely closed off from receiving. Your central nervous system is jacked, and you are completely just clenched tight, pulling in and blocking yourself from being like this. I'm open to receive. I'm open to move forward. I'm open to trust. A lot of the women that do this work have had to learn to really trust their intuition. And you learn to trust your intuition by slowing down, by getting really clear on your priorities, by putting up powerful energetic boundaries, physical boundaries, verbal boundaries, emotional boundaries. And one of the biggest things that I still work on, by the way, 7 years on this particular journey, and I still work on this. And one of the biggest things that us as women need to learn to be okay doing is saying no. I still catch myself wanting to be like, oh yeah, sure. But I catch myself now. How many of you say yes when you really mean no? You get that gut instinct of like, that is a hell no, but you love the person and they really need you to help them. Now, I'm not saying every once in a while you don't step in and do something that you really don't want to do to support, but if that is your MO, to just always be saying yes, 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 then I can guarantee you that is one of the reasons that you will experience burnout, frustration, stress, overwhelm. One of the best things we can do to protect our energy is to say no. And I always say no if it's a true soul no, say yes when it's a true soul yes. And it's okay if you say no, but the biggest piece of that is what? Disappointing somebody else, pissing somebody else off. But that's where, when you come onto this sovereign journey of choosing you, choosing to awaken her, the one that isn't taking the roads that she knows aren't for her. Because in this lifetime, ladies, we're here to awaken to our truth, our power, and our sovereignty, to live in alignment, to choose peace. And we have to say no to things. And sometimes that pisses people off and hurts people. But usually the people that get butthurt about being told no, and it's not like you're like, hell no, or F no, right? It's like, no, but thank you for thinking of me. No, I'm sorry, I'm not available for that, right? Those people that get angry with that are pissed off. And a lot of times I see it with family, right? They just don't have boundaries of their own. So they're just kind of shocked, right? They're like, wait, what? She told me no? And we've programmed people. Ladies, you've programmed everyone in your life right now. You have programmed how to treat you. You've taught them what's acceptable, what they can expect from you. This is why we have to take radical responsibility for how we show up. And when we start to set those boundaries, it can be uncomfortable. But here's what I want you to think of. If you say yes to something that you really mean no, you're adding a boulder, an energetic boulder to your backpack, weighing you down even more. And it's not just weighing you down for that moment, because you know what also it does is adds resentment. Resentment for yourself, resentment for them for asking you and making you feel like you had to say yes. It's all of these low frequency things that we take on, and we don't realize just exactly how heavy those things become. And so I encourage you to really start to look at the things that you're committing to, that you're saying yes to, the experiences, the people, and really look at that and go, is that worth my peace? Because I promise you, those people that like to run over you, or you've programmed these people to just expect a lot out of you, they're running on their own program where they're just used to taking from you. And they're not doing it consciously like, oh, she's a pushover and I'm just going to do this. I mean, some people maybe, but it's simply about a beautiful conscious reprogram, a redirect, a reframe of, oh, I'm actually not going to be that version of myself anymore because I'm choosing my peace, right? We have to say no to protect our own well-being. This also goes to who you are surrounding yourself with. I cannot talk about this enough, but when I started my journey 7 years ago, and even in the last 7 years, as I have gone up in frequency, as I have shifted how I believe and what I think, and my own energetic, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual standards in life, I have lost, quote unquote, lost friends. Because I was no longer willing to tolerate certain aspects of that said friendship anymore, because it was draining me. It was putting more boulders onto me. And I had to start setting boundaries. And then when boundaries weren't respected, there was a consequence, and that's not being a part of my life. And it's not that they're wrong and you're right, but if you aren't auditing who you're surrounding yourself with, that's a huge, huge aspect. And that's why a lot of us light workers and women on this journey oftentimes feel like we're alone a little bit. I don't feel like I'm alone anymore. Hashtag soul up. But but it's like we have to go through these phases of our own rebirth. And if you look around and if you think the sum of the 5 people around you, this is like I've been a transformational life coach for 14 years, and it's something we taught way back then, but it means so much more because of the energetics and spiritual stuff behind it. But if you look at the total, the 5 people that you talk to the most, that you surround yourself with the most, you engage with the most, if you aren't inspired, motivated, in love with those conversations, getting your cup filled up, then that's time to look at those situations. And as you awaken this new version of yourself, that doesn't mean you have to lose friendships. It doesn't mean you kick people to the curb. It doesn't make them wrong and you right. We never do that. It could be that you start to have beautiful conversations with those around you about your journey, about your personal development journey, about your spiritual awakening, about your divine feminine journey, and saying, this is what I'm stepping into. These are the new standards for how I want to be. I would love if we could hold each other accountable in this and we could go on this journey together, whatever it is. It doesn't mean you have to lose everybody, but you awakening to the higher versions of yourself is going to disrupt people that aren't doing their own work or that aren't meant to be on your path, and that's okay, right? But it's very important that you are looking at who you are surrounding yourself with, whether it's online, it's even who you're following online. Ladies, Awakening-Her is all about getting your energy in check, your mental state in check, your physical state in check, your emotional state in check. So you need to look at everything in your personal vortex, in your own life, and look at it and audit it. And go, is this serving my higher self? Is this serving her? Is this serving her? Is this in alignment with this vision? Because you're in control. You're in control of your energy and what you contribute and how you lead your life. But that also takes, I know some of you are like, well, I could never say that to my family. A lot of it's family stuff, right? A lot of the soul up women work through a lot of family stuff of like, well, I can't say this to my parents or whatever. It's not about telling your parents off. It's not about doing this sibling thing or whatever, but it's about standing in your truth. It's about learning what your truth is. So I want you to just close your eyes for a moment. Let's just do something for a moment. I want you to just close your eyes if you're able to. Take a few deep breaths, clearing the energy. And I'm not going to take you through a full-blown meditation, but I want you to just kind of bring presence to your heart space. Breathing into your heart. And if you can, maybe it'll just be a feeling, or if you can visually imagine that this version of you that you want to create, that you want to become, this higher self version, this awakened version, this more awakened version, is standing in front of you. Let's just call her your higher self. And if you've worked with her before, then this might be easy for you to tap into. And if not, I just want you to imagine the woman that you would love to be every single day. The woman that's free of stress and overwhelm. The woman that has a loving family life, friendships. Maybe she makes a big impact in the world, makes money, dresses a certain way. How is she dressed? Maybe you're not dressing right now in the way that you'd love to dress and express yourself. This higher self version of you standing in front of you. And I just want you to study her for a moment. And if you haven't done this before, create her. If you could step into a version of yourself right now, what would that look like to you? What would she be wearing? What would her energy feel like? How would she walk and talk? How does she lead in her business? What kind of friend is she? Wife, mom, neighbor? And just breathe into this image and this feeling that you have for this higher self version of you. And notice how at peace she is, how happy she is. And now if you can get there in your mind's eye, imagine that your higher self has a message for you, the version of you sitting in this class. She has a message for you about how to live a more fulfilling and happy life. She suggests just a few tweaks to start making, a few things to look at, to shift. And in your mind's eye, let her give you those answers. What is she telling you that you need to do to become her? When you receive those answers, just take a deep breath in. Always sending your higher self gratitude. And coming back to this space when you feel called. And if anybody feels compelled to share, we'd, of course, this is a safe, open space of anything, details about your higher self, the divine feminine version of your higher self, any messages that she had for you. Please feel called to do that. And take a drink of water. Now, in some people, I love how y'all all just like took a drink of water. I love that. That would be a funny, because I know so many of my soul up women are on here. It'd be a funny like video if we're all on video and it's like a gif of us just drinking water. Anyways, y'all know how my mind works. So some of you might have had a hard time even envisioning your higher self, right? It depends on what part of your journey that you're in. So yes, Jennifer said, what if she didn't speak? That's okay. So tap into, I would sit with, okay, what were the feelings that I had? Maybe she was relaying things to you energetically and telepathically. What was the feeling in your heart, right? So just sit with that, and you can visit her over and over and over again. You can continue to create her. I encourage y'all over the next few days to journal everything about that higher self. Messages, Jenna, be gentle with yourself. Trust the universe. Surrender the outcomes. Beautiful. Oh, surrender the outcomes, right? Everybody needs that. Everybody needs that. Jamie, I received find air, sun, and water. Yes, that shamanic journey of tapping deeper into the elements. That's beautiful. Stacy, let it go and let it happen. Yes. So often the stress comes and stems from us living in survival mode. You know, I'm writing my book right now, Heal the Hustle. I have been for a few years. Ooh, hopefully it comes out this year. And one of the biggest things that I had to heal 7 years ago when I started to heal the hustle was getting out of survival mode. Even when I made my first $1 million 7 years ago, I still functioned as if I had $2 in the bank account. It was never enough because I was stuck in survival mode. Not enough time, not enough energy, which then sends us into the hustle of that scarcity. I got to do more. I got to be more. I've got to go more. I've got to work more. I've got to push harder. I've got to do. So long I felt if I slowed down at all that I'd fall behind, or that everything would come crashing down. I thought that if I gripped onto everything, like we talked about earlier, if I gripped onto everything, that I could hold on to it. But really, it was pressure, and I was pushing it all away from me. So slowing down is vital on this journey. One of the things I'll talk to you about at the end when I share some of the soul up and the bonus that I actually recorded today, and a lot of you know, is my MTMs. And I'll give you a brief description of MTMs, okay, before we jump on. I don't want to go into the full training here, but mindful transition meditations. When I created and started using these 5 years ago, it changed so much for me. And I'm going to give you a really brief summary. I'm not going to go into the full 15-minute teaching on it, but mindful transition meditations are a tool for you to use when you feel like you run around like a chicken with your head cut off, when you are overwhelmed, when you are stressed, when you are just all over the place. And most people are like that every single day, living in the upper register of their lungs, in fight or flight. Slowing down in between every single task. This is the shortest version I can give you. Slowing down in between every single task for 30, 60, 90 seconds, or 3 big deep breaths, whatever works for you. I had a client, and she was like, I've got 4 kids and a newborn. There is no way I can even do 90 seconds right now. That was her brain telling her that. So I was like, 3 deep breaths, okay? In between every single task. You wash the dishes. Before you do that, you go do something else. 3 deep breaths in between everything, with the intention to call back all your power and clear the energy from the previous task, because everything is energy and we're energetic beings. And if you start your day off on a crazy foot, which you should have a morning ritual, then you're going to go like this, and it's a snowball. And then you get to the end of the night and you realize, oh my gosh, that was a shitty day. I did so much, but I don't know what I did. And now I don't want to have sex with my partner because who wants to do that? I'm exhausted. I'm overwhelmed. Don't touch me. And we go through our days and we wonder why we're so stressed out, and we're not calling back our power. We're not clearing our energy. We're not slowing down, and we're running on autopilot, which means that we're unconsciously running on a program instead of being tapped into the present moment to know, okay, consciously, what is next? You don't hear your intuition when you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You're not tapped in. And so we have to slow down. That's this very short synopsis. Again, I'm not going to go into the full 15-minute training, but at the end of this, I'll tell you how to get that. One thing that I want to give you as a practice that I have been using a lot lately. And if you're in Soul Up, you know this already. I do this work right alongside you every single day. Just because I'm a mentor and a spiritual guide and a divine feminine embodiment mentor and a coach and lead Soul Up and run these programs and do all these things, I am in this work every single day. Period. Because it's an ever evolving journey to that next frequency, to that next level, to that next aha moment, to that next healing. And so this practice around some limiting beliefs that I've been working on comes into play a lot. So how many of you have ever felt like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm stupid, oh, I just can't get it, I'm never gonna make it, blah, 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 blah. All the limiting beliefs that can run on autopilot sometimes, or whatever. Mine has my core limiting belief that I'm continually, I've healed a lot of this. It doesn't take me down into the trenches, but every once in a while, when there's a new level to access, I go through this limiting belief. And a lot of times it's playing subconsciously and I have to catch it and alchemize it and bring it through, is I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I am a 40-year-old woman that has done this work, this specific work, for 7 years, for 14 years, been a transformational life coach, helped hundreds and hundreds of women transform their lives. I believe, I know I'm a good wife and a good mom and a good friend and a good woman, good person. I've been successful. I have multiple businesses, and there are still some times that I think I'm not enough. I'm not doing good enough. This isn't going to be enough. People aren't going to like it. People don't like me. What's wrong with me? How many of you have ever felt that? Just put yes in the chat. This is something I don't know. I truly don't know a single woman that hasn't dealt with this and doesn't kind of consistently, continually deal with some version of this that sneaks in. And I get emotional speaking about it because y'all know my mission here is to help you awaken to know that you are so more than enough, that you were born worthy, and nothing has changed a single bit except for the programming from society and our families and everything about trying to prove ourselves to be something that out there is accepted. So with this tip that I've used, this tangible practice that I've used, is I like to take a thought and dissect it. So for instance, I've been working for the last 3-4 weeks on the relaunch, the reopening of enrollment for Soul Up. We've upgraded everything. We have lowered the price to make it more impactful, which I will tell you all about. We have just redone everything. And we've been working tirelessly. Me and my team have been working tirelessly on this. Like I don't think I even worked this hard, and not hustle, because it's all in alignment, no overwhelm, no exhaustion. Anytime, by the way, this is a side note, anytime on my journey I start to get overwhelmed, I will step back. I will close it down. I will take a nap. I will get away. I am not doing anything that is going to make me feel like I am overwhelmed, forcing things. You can ask Henry, who is my right-hand woman, creative assistant, back end, like she does literally everything that I don't want to do. She's incredible. And I'll tell her, I'll come into Voxer one day, even over the last, and I'm like, hey, I'm getting a little like overwhelmed. I can tell that I'm like starting to go into a little bit of this overwhelm energy. I'm going to take the rest of the day off, or I'm not going to work on this the rest of the day. I'm going to step back, you know? And it's like, I can't do that. Right. So even though we've been working really hard on this, there were things that were coming up that as I was creating these new things for Soul Up and you know, choosing to lower the price and just all these crazy decisions that we've had to make and all this stuff that I personally created, Henry created, like we just did so much. There were so many times throughout the process, the last 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, is this good enough? Like, is this going to be good enough to do what I want to do, right? To impact the way that I want to impact, to serve the way that I want to serve. And it came in. And so this trick is I evaluate and I dissect the thought. So if you think, am I good enough? The first thing I ask myself, and you Soul Up ladies know this, the first thing is like, is this true? Is this limiting belief? Is this thought true? Am I good enough? So then I would go, for who? For what? And I start to dissect it. And it's like, and is this good enough? For who? For me, first and foremost, because this is my creation, right? Is this good enough for how I want to impact, how I want to create? Have I given my best? Yeah. Have I poured my heart and soul into this? Yeah. So good enough for, like, am I good enough or is it good enough? Is just this limiting belief, this program that's trying to take me down. It's the egoic structure of like these programs out here that is trying to make me feel less than. And I'm like, actually, it's more than enough. People will be like, kids nowadays, you know, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm like, let's talk about that. Is that actually true? Harrison called himself stupid the other day. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. We're starting that. Okay, preteen. And it's like, is that true, buddy? Well, I just can't get this, da, 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 da. And I said, okay, well, that's the truth. Not that you're stupid, that you're having a challenging time with this math problem. That doesn't make you stupid. That just makes you needing some support with the math problem, right? So we have to really look at the truth and come back to the truth. What is the truth? The truth is that I've given it my best. The truth is that you can learn to solve a math problem, right? You can truly guide yourself through and almost coach yourself through dissecting limiting belief after limiting belief. And if you're in Soul Up, then you have the limiting belief trainings and stuff to go through that really get to the truth of that. But you were born worthy and nothing has changed. And when we're striving to do more, when we're striving to be more, when we're striving to just go out of this scarcity mindset, we have to do the deep work to start to peel back those layers of what the truth actually is. What do you really want to prioritize? How do you really want to lead your life? Because at your core, your truth is peace. You are love. You have a purpose just by being you, not by being something or doing something for everyone else. So I want you to write down. I want you to, I think DoorDash just delivered. I want you to write down right now, what do you truly desire out of your life? If you released all the stress and burnout, what would you create? Like, how would your life, let's just do this. How would your life feel? How would your body feel energetically? How would your spiritual connection be? How would your mental state be? Before awakening to truth, my truth, I suffered with severe anxiety and depression. And I'm so grateful. Like, I'm talking debilitating anxiety, y'all. I lived in such a fearful state all the time. I could put on perfect, happy Instagram face and like, oh, everything's perfect. And then behind the scenes and inside, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Like everything is horrible. Everything's going to crash and burn. If I don't do more, if I don't do this, like I had extreme anxiety around almost everything. And I was it was eating me alive. And so when you think about what you truly desire, what does your life look like without burnout and stress and overwhelm and exhaustion? And then who do you need to become to create that life? What work do you need to do? What healing needs to happen? What no's need to be said more often? What experiences, people, and circumstances do you need to protect yourself against and shield yourself from and stop subjecting yourself to? Where do you need to slow down? What healing work needs to be done? What boundaries need to be put into place? All of these things you get to unravel and discover for yourself. I've given you tips and tricks on how to start doing that tonight. And all of these practices are about slowing down, setting boundaries, reprogramming your mind. It's all to awaken her. It's all in order to access those higher levels of consciousness, to heal from the inside out. I came on this journey 7 years ago, and I did the work solid, like every single day. And I say the work, meaning the energetic healing work, the spiritual work, the mindset work, the emotional regulation, the central nervous system regulation work every single day. Like I literally let everything kind of crash down around me, business, money, everything 7 years ago in order to heal. And I started to teach this work first in Soul Up 5 years ago, so that I could help women not get to the point where they feel like they've got to burn it all down. Where women can start to do this work and feel truly happy and fulfilled, not just freaking Instagram happy. Because I was Instagram happy for a long time. I put on that perfectionist, like, I'm perfect, everything's fine, everything's fine. I have this beautiful family, we have this beautiful business, we have this beautiful house, we make a lot of money. And I was dying inside. And I had a lot of great teachers and healers. But I want to share with you a little bit of Soul Up, and then I'm going to screen share with you the information for Soul Up for those of you that are ready to explore this next level and all that it comes with and why you should join us in Soul Up. There were 2 things missing from what I started to learn 7 years ago and why I created Soul Up. And that was tangible, practical teachings. I was very involved in a lot of the spiritual healing teachings and all of that, and they served me greatly. But my soul had told me from the very beginning that I was meant to be a bridge from the higher realms to the earthly realms, to be able to teach embodiment, healing, awakening to your power. Literally heal. When I say healing, y'all, I mean everything. I don't have neurological Lyme disease anymore. I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have depression anymore. I don't have any of that they told me, I thought I was going to live with my whole life, because of the work that I've done over the last 7 years. And then the second piece, outside of the tangible, real teachings, taking these spiritual teachings, taking these divine feminine teachings and making them tangible reality for women. Not just, oh, we're sending you a healing. Well, actually, no, I want to teach you how to heal yourself through what we call the Soul Up Way, which is these 8 pillars I'll show you in a minute. And then the second piece was community. I didn't have a connected community of women that I could like bounce ideas off of and share and support with and celebrate with and like be in that energy. And that's why I'm inviting you, if you're not already a member, to join us in Soul Up. And Soul Up is a space where you can continue this journey. My little boy's walking in, and be a mom still and be a wife still. I'll be done in a minute, buddy. Okay. And surrounded by a community. No, no. That's fine. Like,
he peed out here on the carpet.
okay, I'll get it. Thank you for telling me. Finn peed in the carpet. If you're in Soul Up, you know this is like, you know, we're just here. We're just here living our lives, changing the world. Living real life and peed on the carpet. He never does that, so that's exciting. Anyway, so it's a space where you can be surrounded by other women doing this work, the divine feminine work, the spiritual awakening work, the personal development work, the mindset work, as we align more spiritually and physically and mentally and emotionally to who we truly want to become. Okay. So that's why I invite women to Soul Up. And I want to share with you, I'm going to screen grab some things, because I want to share with you let me get it up here. I want to share with you what it looks like in Soul Up. So one of the beautiful things in Soul Up is that you get everything now all in one app, and it is not on Facebook. And I know that that can be a learning curve for some people, because so many people, we all have been on Facebook forever. Okay. I get it. But I wanted a place where there was a distraction-free environment. And what I mean by that is, on Facebook, you go, right? And you go in and you're distracted by everything on the feed, right? It's like, oh, well, there's Sally from next door from 22 years ago when I was 7 years old talking about her cat. And then you get drug into all this stuff, right? And so we've put Soul Up in Mighty Networks, the community, the teachings, the everything. So let me share the screen with you. I don't usually share a screen, so excuse me while I figure this out. How do I share? There we go. Okay. So let me know if you can see that. You can see that? Okay, so let me move that. What's happening here? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so you get into Soul Up when you log in, which I'm going to tell you all of the bonuses, all the fun stuff we're doing for this relaunch, the lowered price, all the things, all the amazing stuff. But I wanted to show you this first. So you'll come in and you're going to be a part of this space right here, Soul Up. So this is just our featured section. This is going to be your welcome video, okay? And then top post. This is our community feed. Again, this is where you have a powerful group of women from all over the world, literally Mexico, Australia, the Netherlands, Holland, from all over the world, that are here, and you're supporting, you're celebrating, you're sharing, you're speaking. I've been talking about a lot about the community lately. I don't want to share too fast because this is all private stuff, but you're sharing your journey. You're supporting each other on this journey with love-minded women from all over the world. I want Soul Up, and what it's been for the last 5 years is hundreds and hundreds of women have come through, is a place you can come and feel safe to show up for your journey. A lot of times when we're on these journeys, we're like, oh, is this too woo-woo? Or is this too weird? Is this thought too weird about this or that or whatever? And it's like, no, actually you have an entire portal of women that are doing the personal development work, the divine feminine work, the spiritual awakening work, the work to better themselves, the relationship work, okay? So you have that community that you support each other, you celebrate each other, you cheer each other on, you ask questions, you get that guidance and that love. So in here underneath pillars now, I'm so excited. This is where you have over 100 hours of trainings, transmissions, activations, and meditations that are underneath what we call the Soul Up Way, okay? So the Soul Up Way are these 8 pillars: divine feminine activation and embodiment, healing the hustle, which is a lot to do with like the soulpreneur work, the business stuff, healing money wounds, money energetics, profound self-exploration, which is the work for the limiting belief work, reprogramming conscious relationships, healing your relationship, spiritual awakening, alchemy, and energetic healing work, calming your central nervous system and somatic work, guided meditations, energetic activations. So if you look here, you open this up in your app. You can have this on a computer, or I just more than anything use it. There's a Mighty Networks app that you just log in and it's all in one app right on your phone. Okay, we're about to open up these guidebooks for everybody. Okay, so we also have a guidebook for every single pillar, and it's like a 10 to 13 page, beautifully curated guidebook that I have worked my absolute tush off to create. And I can give you all an example if you want, but these are all of the teachings around the divine feminine, all the programs. Then you've got Healing the Hustle. You've got all of these programs, master classes, transmissions all around soul, soul aligned business, being the CE soul of your life, how to get out of a funk, all these things, profound self-exploration. I don't want to go through every single one of these, but you get the point. Each of these has all of these things that you can tap into, and you literally will just watch the videos, okay? Or print the guidebook for each thing. So you get all of that. We also have the events tab in here. Also with Soul Up, we do monthly Zooms. So we have community Zooms where we get on. I either have something to teach or I do a Q&A. So you get live personalized coaching. We usually do about 2 to 3 of those a month. Soul Up is also going to, let me stop this and show y'all what all you get. Stop share. Look at me being all techie. I love being all techie. Okay, let's see if I can actually figure it out. Okay. Oh, I could have kept sharing that. Here we go. Bear with me. All right, so this is all that you get in Soul Up, okay? So you're going to get, obviously, the sisterhood, the 100+ exclusive teachings and trainings. We also have that meditations. You have a whole thing. You're never going to have to wonder like, oh, what should I do to meditate today? You've got all that in there. Activations, which are energetic healing activations. You got the 8 printable guidebooks that you can print or download on your phone. Our monthly group coaching Zooms, members only specials, meaning Soul Up. I'm going to be launching and sharing and creating impact outside of Soul Up with bigger programs and masterminds and things like that. And y'all will always get a member only pricing and special discounts over anything over $100. Y'all will get like 25 to 50% off anything that I do. Healing activations and meditations, personal growth challenges and giveaways. We'd like to do like random challenges. I think August was our abundance challenge. I know I've got one planned for October. We do giveaways, and then we have a Voxer broadcast channel, which is just where I will drop in little downloads or information. Okay. So what you're going to get though, and we've already had some women that have signed up in Soul Up because their membership was up for renewal. So it's really cool to see that. Okay. So we have until the 22nd, we are doing this bonus where you're going to get, which I'm so stoked about, you're going to get my new mini training series and printable guidebook, The Art of Alignment, a guide to creating inner peace. Now, this mini program that I have created is so freaking epic. I actually recorded the whole series today. There's 7 video trainings. There's I think a 14-page guidebook to go with it, where I literally take you through 5 different practices step by step on how to set your days up for massive inner peace. I go deep into the training for the mindful transition meditations that we talked about. I dive deep into your morning routines in ways that you probably have never heard before, your nighttime routines, your nourishing, and a gratitude journaling practice and a gratitude awareness practice that you've probably never thought to do as well. It is next level, and you get that for free until the 22nd when you sign up. That's that right there when you sign up for Soul Up, okay? Now, we do have a pay in full bonus where you get free access to the Art of Alignment until the 22nd. Paying in full, you save $42, and you also get our fun little welcome gift here. And all of that, y'all, is $22 a month for 12 months or $222 pay in full. Now, this used to be $55. We've had it at $222, right, Jenna? $222 a month. And I've played with different price points, but I'll tell you what, okay? why I did this, because I'm telling you, if you go in and I was to literally break down the last 5 years of the teachings, the transmissions, the programs, the healing, the activations, the meditations, the guidebook, everything that I have in there is like a huge chunk, probably 80% of my body of work in the last 5 years is housed in Soul Up right now. Outside of my bigger programs that, as the ladies know that are in Soul Up, I had pulled out because we're going to be doing some things and changing and doing some other stuff. But 80% of my life's work for the last 5 years is in Soul Up. And so some people are going to go, what the heck are you selling it for $22 a month for? And it's because it became very clear to me last month through some really powerful energy healing work and some ceremonial work that I was doing, that I got back to knowing that I created Soul Up 5 years ago to create massive impact. And in order to create massive impact, I needed to put it at a price point where it could reach as many women as possible that want to do this work, and they would have almost no excuse not to do this work, not to be a part of this community, not to put themselves first. And at $22, obviously, twos in alchemy clears fear. Okay, so that's a good one. But it is there so that I can cause a ripple effect for us to create so much impact. And I say us because every time you choose you, every time you choose the higher frequency decision, the higher conscious decision, every time you say no when you mean no, and yes when you mean yes, and not the other way around. Every time you say, you know what, I'm going to slow down today because my central nervous system is wrecked. Every time you put yourself first because you need your cup filled and you're stressed and you just need a moment. Every time you are exuding love and peace and calm and joy and gratitude, you are impacting the collective. Your light is impacting the collective. Everything you do, in essence, on an energetic level, is either contributing or taking away, or maybe keeping the same. So I made it a no-brainer for the women that are ready to do this work, that are more than anything, y'all. I can't stress enough. If you feel alone on this journey, if you feel burned out and exhausted and you feel alone on an island, join Soul Up. I want this community to thrive and to grow and to be so just expansive for you to know that you always have a safe place to land. When you're having a bad day and you need to tap into a transmission or a teaching or a meditation, or you need support on something from your soul sisters, or you just need to share what's on your heart and some aha moment that you've had, whatever it is, you have a safe place in Soul Up. It's a judgment-free zone. I can guarantee you we've had hundreds and hundreds of women come through Soul Up in the last 5 years, and I have never once, not once, up until this point, had to remove anybody or even had to have a talk with anybody about being rude, being tacky to another person, being judgmental, none of it. And so I encourage you, if you are looking for that beautiful, safe place to land, that you join us in Soul Up. We're going to send the replay email. I know I went a little over time. You can look through the website and see if that's something that you want to do. Either way, I wish you complete happiness and blessings on your journey. Again, till the 22nd, you get the Art of Alignment, my new mini series. And also you'll see that I've created, which was another one of my creations, I created 365 mindful moments. And it's for the busy woman looking to heal. And it's 365 days of journaling prompts and guidance so that you never have to think about, what am I going to journal about? Or if you're trying to get more intentional and you're like, okay, I'm struggling with journaling, right? That's going to be for you. You'll see it's usually $20. I'm going to price it when I'm selling it normally for $22. It's only $8. You can snag that too. but we would love to see you in Soul Up. If you do join us, you'll get a welcome email. You'll get access to the space of the Art of Alignment, the Soul Up. Go to the welcome video, watch that welcome video, and introduce yourself to us, because we would love to get to know you. I'm so excited. We have our first group Zoom on the 25th, just in case. I don't know when people are going to be watching this. We're probably going to have to cut some of this out as the bonuses because replay is available for 10 days. But we have our next group Zoom, our second one of the month on the 25th next week. So we would love to see new faces there. I love y'all. Thank you so much for showing up, whether you're watching live or the replay. We'll send the replay email. I love you too, Rachel. And I can never do that. Oh, is that it? I'm like, why does it always look cuter when other people do it? Anyways, I love y'all so much. Thank you. I'm sending you infinite love. We're going to seal this field afterwards, but I'm going to do a little bit of energetic alchemy on the space before I seal the field. So I'm sending you so much love. And Brandy, I can't wait to see you in there finally. I will talk to y'all soon. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a good night, loves. Bye.